Charles-Édouard Jeanneret, known as Le Corbusier. Born in the town of La Chaux-de-Fonds in Canton Neuchâtel, he is said to be the most influential, the most admired, and the most detested architect of the 20th century. His idealism was reflected in his iconic designs, such as this tubular steel furniture. But he also drew, painted, and sculpted. His theories of architecture and urban planning were pioneering. He was just 25 when he built La Maison Blanche, the White House, for his parents in his hometown. It was a revolutionary design. The entire structure was supported by 4 pillars with lightweight internal partition walls that could be easily moved to create a brand new layout.
Il y a démystification à travers la Maison Blanche parce que
The White House demystifies to a certain extent the legend of the great architect. You can feel his talent, his genius. But you also realize that it was only through hard work that he became the great architect that he was.
un travail même acharné de la part de ce personnage qui lui a permis de devenir ce qu'il est.
In 1922, Le Corbusier and his cousin Pierre Jeanneret opened a studio in Paris. He wanted to improve living conditions for the residents of the crowded city and proposed his Plan Voisin, a city of steel-framed skyscrapers encased in huge walls of glass set in parks. The plan was rejected, but many places were later subjected to his style of modernist architecture, for better or worse. His creations have become places of pilgrimage for architecture students from all over the world.
He was the first star architect, a kind of role model for today's great star architects. He worked on a global stage. He wooed the media. The things he produced were what we would now call sharp. People are still interested in them.
Le Corbusier's political allegiances have cast a shadow over his architectural achievements. He became a French citizen in 1930 and aligned himself with the far right. He was on a committee studying urbanism for the Vichy regime that collaborated with Nazi Germany during World War II. In letters to his mother, he said that Hitler and Vichy rule would bring about what he called a marvellous transformation of society. But he later renounced the doomed regime. Some experts argue that Le Corbusier was simply cozying up to those in power in order to win commissions.
Le Corbusier was not the first architect to discover that making great architecture depends on a very close relationship between the architect and the rich and the powerful, and in some cases some rather unsavoury rich and powerful. And Le Corbusier realised that if he was going to get his ideas turned into practice, he had to make those connections. He was ready to work for Stalin. He wrote to Mussolini begging for an audience because he felt that he could offer something to fascist Italy in terms of his ideas about city planning.
Despite his dubious political connections, the country of his birth has honoured him. Le Corbusier's face adorns the 10-franc note. Streets and squares are named after him. His work was groundbreaking and will no doubt continue to both fascinate and repel for many decades to come.